Okay, students, welcome back to my channel Engineers Academy. Do support my channel by clicking that subscribe button. That will help me a lot. Now we are going to solve this problem. It says that replace the force system acting on the frame by an equivalent resultant force and couple moment acting at point A. So we have to replace these three forces by their equivalent resultant force and resultant couple moment, which is acting at point A. So again, we have to find the rectangular components of the resultant. We have to find the Rx and Ry component of the resultant. Let's say that this is our positive X and positive Y direction. So first of all, we have to resolve this force there. So we will have the one component in this direction, and this one will be the cos component. This is 300 cos of 30, and we will have one component in this direction. This one will be the sine component. Let me write that this one is 300 sine of 30 degrees. So we have to find the Rx component of the resultant, and we can obtain this Rx component by adding the components or the forces along the x-axis. So that will be equal to, towards the right is our positive x direction. So now we have this 300 cos of 30 in the positive x. We have this 500 Newton in the positive x. So we will write that this is 300 cos of 30 plus 500. So 300 cos of 30 plus 500. So this is equal to Rx, which is approximately 760. So our x component of the resultant is 760 Newton. Similarly, the Ry component of the resultant will be equal to the summation of components or forces along the y-axis. In the upward direction is our positive y direction. So now as we can see that this component, this is in the downward direction, this is in the negative direction. So we will write minus 300 sine of 30 degrees, and we have this 400 Newton. This is also acting in the negative y direction, so we write minus 400. So minus 300 sine of 30 minus 400, this gives me minus 550. So Ry is equal to minus 550 Newtons. So now if and again we have to find this is Rx and Ry. We can find the magnitude of the resultant by applying the Pythagoras theorem. So R will be equal to the Rx square plus Ry square, and then we will take the square root. We can always find the resultant magnitude by applying the same method. 760 square plus minus 550 square. So this is approximately 938. So the resultant magnitude is 938 Newtons. And now the Rx component is in the positive x. So we can show that Rx is in the positive x, and this is Rx, and Ry is in the downward direction, that is in the negative y. So the resultant will be, by head to tail rule, we can write that the resultant is this. The resultant magnitude is 938 Newtons, and let's say that it is making some angle theta with the horizontal, with the Rx component like this. So we can find this theta by applying tan theta. So we can write that tan theta will be equal to the perpendicular. So the perpendicular is Ry. This is the Rx, and this is Ry. So we can say that Ry divided by Rx, and then theta is equal to tan inverse. Ry magnitude is 550, and Rx magnitude is 760. This will give us the angle. This gives us theta equals to 35.89 degrees, and this angle is with the positive x-axis is like this. This is the resultant. This is that theta. Now we have to find the moment of these three forces about point A. So that will be, we have to find the resultant moment about point A, and that will be equal to the summation of moment of all these three forces about point A. So now as we can see that this sine component, this is passing through that point A, so its moment arm from point A is 0. It's not going to produce the moment about point A. So this 300 cos of 30, this is producing the moment about point A in the counterclockwise direction. So we are assuming that the counterclockwise moment is positive, and that 300 cos of 30 is producing the positive moment, that is the counterclockwise moment. So we will write plus 300 cos of 30, and the perpendicular distance or the moment arm of this cos component from that point A is 0.5 meters. So I will multiply this with 0.5. Similarly, this 500 Newton force, this is also producing the counterclockwise moment about point A. So again, I will write plus 500, and the perpendicular distance of this 500 Newton force from that point A is 1 plus 0.5. So that is 1.5. And similarly, this 400 Newton force, this is producing the clockwise moment about that point A. So we will write minus 400, and the perpendicular distance or the moment arm of this 400 Newton force from that point A is this 0.5, this distance. So we will multiply this with 0.5. So this will give us the resultant moment of these three forces about point A. So 300 into 0.5 cos of 30 and plus 500 into 1.5 minus 400 into 0.5, this gives me 679.90. It is approximately 680 Newton meter, and we got this as plus sign. So this is the resultant moment about point A, and the plus sign tells us that this is the counterclockwise moment. Now we have to show that we have to represent that resultant force and resultant couple moment at point A. For that we have to erase these given forces in order to replace them, right? So let me erase all these. Now let me remove those given forces. So this 400 Newton force is no more here, this 500 Newton, this is no more here, and this is no more here, since we are going to replace them by their equivalent force and couple moment. So at A we will have that resultant which is going to act in this particular direction like this. So we have to show that here. Let's say this is that resultant, and the resultant magnitude is 938 Newton, and it is making that angle theta whose magnitude is this. And we have to show that resultant moment about point A. So that resultant moment about point A is in the counterclockwise direction like this. This resultant moment about point A, this is equal to 680 Newton meter. So the combined effect of all those three forces about point A is this resultant 938 Newton, and they are producing this couple moment, this resultant couple moment of 680 Newton meter about that point A. So this is the solution of this particular problem. I hope this will help you in your learning. Let me know in the comments if it helps in your learning. Do support my channel by clicking that subscribe button.